Hello and welcome to episode 79 of Let's Run Facebook Ads podcast with me, as usual, Nick Boddington. I hope everyone's well. Today, we're going to talk about two different things that I'm seeing in some ad managers now, which is Advantage Plus. Great name. Makes you want to press it, doesn't it? Let's get into the podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. So this is something I saw yesterday on an account of Utah Run, courtesy of Mark at Utah Run in Arizona. Thank you, Mark. Going to be talking about what I saw in your consultancy call yesterday. So it's this Advantage Plus campaign budget optimization and Advantage Plus audience. So let me tell you where you'll see these. Now, it's not showing up in everyone's because I've just had to actually have a look through some of our ad accounts, and it's obviously Mark's it's showing up as. And it's funny because Mark's actually working off the older version. So when you go to create a new ad, we have, obviously, you guys who listen to this, we've got the ODAX version, which is the new one where you'll see your sales and leads and stuff going down vertically down to choose. Whereas the old version, which we've all been using for years, splits it into columns of awareness and conversions, etc., and consideration. Mark's actually using the old version to go and start an ad, but then within his ads manager, it's actually giving him the new versions. So Facebook does this, it rolls things out. I don't know why people get it at different times, but it's the way it is. Now, they've used the word advantage, which is a good word to use because where are we with Facebook? Facebook is trying to bring as much of it into the platform as possible, and it's trying to give you the best results, maximize your results for putting in less complicated features so that anyone logically can do the job. Now, that's not to say that I'm out of a job because it's still very, very confusing, but it's trying to make it easier. So when I first got into this game, there were people talking about an ad should just be shown, and again, Mark will remember this from our conversation yesterday, an ad should just be shown on the Facebook feed and it shouldn't go into the videos, or it shouldn't be in audience network, and all these different things. There are so many different rules for different things. And what media buyers like myself were doing, though I've been one of them who's actually been on the Facebook side, is that we were trying to beat the algorithm. And I think we all know at this day and age now that we're going to find it pretty hard to beat a supercomputer, especially built off demographics and what people are doing. So, and I still see it now. I'll go to these talks and things, and people are still trying to beat the computer. Now, where I sit and where I want you to sit, and the other people, peers in this organization and this industry that I speak to, is we will allow Facebook to make a lot of the decisions for us, because it has our best interests at heart. It wants to make money. It needs to make money. It's got people like TikTok around now who are making some great advertising systems, still think they're nowhere near as good as what Facebook is producing, simply because Facebook knows so much about us, whereas someone like TikTok is buying that data because it just doesn't have enough data over the last 15 years to make the calculations. But if we are choosing a Facebook feed and then we want a particular type of creative and we're trying to choose an audience that we're going to go to, yet Facebook has got rid of so many audiences, it suddenly makes our job actually more to the point we're having to let Facebook make those decisions for us. And that's what Facebook wants. So Facebook is basically saying, leave it to us and put it out there. I'm even testing audiences that are completely broad. I'm putting in 25 plus male and female UK wide because Facebook knows the ad, it knows the URL, it knows what's on the website, its computer's read every bit of code, it knows what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve, and it wants to bring you a result. So I would say, from my personal opinion, go with it, stop trying to beat it, and let's have a look at over these particular points. So when you go to create a new creative, you might see when it goes into the new conversions campaign view, you'll see advantage campaign budget. Now, this is the same area where we would switch on campaign budget. Now, I know that loads of you will use campaign budget because we've advised you to, and that's the way over the last couple of years everyone's moved to. It's amazing how long it takes for people to move into these normal things, and then Facebook takes it away. But that would have been campaign budget optimization. So when you switch that on, it means that you can then get a daily budget across your campaign, not across the ads. So the campaign budget for someone like Mark would be, he's got 4 types of running, a type of running shoe that he wants to get out to, male, female. Now, what he might want to do is create a catalog. And in the campaign, he's said to Facebook have $100 a day. But I want you to decide through the audiences and through the content that we put in the ad, what should be seen where. And I want you to decide where you're wanting that budget to go. That's the campaign budget optimization. If you don't click that, you choose it per ad. So it might be trainer 1 has £10 a day, trainer 2 has £20 a day, trainer 3 has £30 a day, depending on, you might have more stock of a trainer, you wanted to get it out more, lots of different things come into it. But most of the time we stick to a campaign budget optimization. So it's now advantage campaign budget. What does this say? So advantage campaign budget will distribute your budget across ad sets to get more results depending on your delivery optimization choices and bid strategy. Ignore the bid strategy. And what it means by the delivery optimization is you've chosen a campaign for conversions because you're wanting to get purchases on the trainers. You're not wanting to get people to add to cart. You're wanting Facebook to go and find people who are going to convert. Okay, so that's what that bit means. Ignore the bid strategy. So this basically says no different to what it said before. I know that because I spend a lot of time researching what this platform does. You guys probably won't, because you're relying on my agency and me to do this for you. But that is essentially what it means now. But you, as someone who might go in and build your own ad, you're going to see the title Advantage Campaign Budget Plus, and you're going to see that as a positive thing because it is going to be an advantage to you. So as normal, we click that bit. Now, the next little bit of an update is in the ad set page. When we scroll down to the audience placements, and again, on the call with Mark yesterday, Jess and I noticed this because we had actually not wanting to beat the system. We did have reasons for this. Mark is trying to get over 50s who are going out walking into the mountains or whatever to be more comfortable. So we wanted to target the older demographic. Where's that older demographic? The older demographic is on Facebook. Why? Because as soon as a platform becomes successful, advertisers come onto the platform because the money people are coming onto the platform, i.e. the 30+ people are starting to use TikTok. It's the fastest growing demographic on TikTok, which means they're bringing over their wallets, which means their wallets are open, which means advertisers are coming in because advertisers want to get money out of their wallets. Then the nice little 16-year-old who found TikTok, which was Musical.ly beforehand, goes, oh my God, my parents and my auntie and uncle are on this platform, I'm off. So she goes and finds another platform where she can communicate freely and privately with her friends of her own age group until that becomes big and that becomes advertiser heavy and 35-year-olds are on there buying goods. That's how it works. Facebook, being one of the oldest, now has a fantastic demographic for the 50+ market. We do so much work with charities. 50+ market is a sector, as an agency, we absolutely love because Facebook is absolutely full of them. Facebook still works for every other type of age group. Believe it or not, every ad we have running works better on Facebook than it does Instagram. But with our using the system, we want to manipulate Facebook, TikTok, all these other platforms that we have access to try and create that customer journey and find people where they might be hanging out. So if we go down to the placements area, we have Advantage Plus placements, and this says recommended. Wow, God, you're going to press this button because you're not going to press anything else, are you? Use Advantage Plus placements to maximize your budget and help show your ads to more people. Facebook's delivery system will allocate your ad sets budget across multiple placements based on where they're likely to perform best. What this means, so if you were to click into manual placements underneath it, you now get the devices and the platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and Audience Network. Audience Network is basically when your ad is going to be shown out of Facebook into other Facebook networks or third-party networks that Facebook allows access to. So here you have all the tick box, whether you want to go on Facebook feed, Instagram feed, marketplace, video feeds, and you can tick or untick all these areas. Now, my recommendation again, until you have data and seeing where people are buying, keep it on Advantage Plus. Advantage Plus means that Facebook will go and show your ad in the places where it thinks that your audience is hanging out. Okay. So some great questions from clients that we have. Enterprise cars. If we're going to do an ad campaign on van rental, so daily rental for a van, and they do what the Enterprise Car Club is, where we advertise that you can just hire a van for an hour. Why would you hire a van for an hour? You might just want to be moving house, it takes longer than an hour. You might have some furniture you want to pick up. You might be doing all sorts of things. So where would a good place to put an ad for a rent a van for an hour could be Marketplace. Another example, my son wants a boxing bag. It's one of these water boxing bags. I'm sure I'm not going to buy it full of water. Either way, it's going to be heavy. And unless I've got an estate car, which I happen to have, I would probably want to go out and get a small van to go and get this boxing bag, or get the sofa, or get the table, or get the chairs. So a good place from the client's point of view would be, can we stick those ads in the marketplace area, because it's going to get seen by people who might be looking for a table, and then funny enough, they get seen and shown an ad to hire a van for an hour or two that they might need for that pickup. So that is where you want to be, how you want to be thinking about this area. But let Facebook decide first of all, unless you really know what you're doing, let Facebook decide first of all. Let your campaign run for a month or so, get a load of data come through, and then you can go into your columns and you can change your columns through to see where the delivery of the placements were. So in this part, you can go to by action. Is it by action, or is it by, it used to be by, here we go. You can go by delivery, and you can look at age, gender, Asian gender, business locations, region, impression, platform, device, placement. So you can click on placement, and then that will break down with all the different areas. And you can say that, hey, I told you so. It's all our orders are coming from the Facebook feed. So then you could say, okay, let's take our budget and put it onto the Facebook feed. Another example of how you need to set this up first of all, or is it an example? Okay. So we have another client, we have plenty of clients, but we have another client called UK Skin, and they do body surgery. They get rid of man boobs, they do lips, they all this sort of thing. And we had put an ad out, and the client came back and said, okay, is this an automatic placement? He knows what he kind of knows what he's talking about. And we're like, yes. And he said, because I'm not seeing any leads coming through from Instagram. And I had a look at it, and we were seeing that Facebook was pushing a lot of the budget through to Facebook over Instagram. As I believe in the system, explain to the client that we believe in the system, but let's try it out. So let's duplicate the ad and let's split it between Instagram and Facebook. We've noticed now that more, because it's a younger demographic, are coming from Instagram over Facebook. Facebook was just getting a different type of engagement, whatever it might have been. We can only make calculated guesses. It was preferring putting the budget to Facebook over Instagram. But now the client is getting more leads at a cheaper rate because they came from Instagram, where there's more of his audience hanging out. So you have to test these things. And this is what it's about. It's about testing different things, figuring out what works for your business, and pushing your business forward in the right way. Understanding your audience is really, really important. Client meeting yesterday, they sell Formula One gear, Mercedes, all the stuff, proper merchandise. And I said to them, at the price points that they're buying, men don't really like buying things. I know that I don't buy things. Most of the things that I've got, apart from t-shirts and maybe some running shoes and things like that, I have been bought. Now, if I was really into F1, would I go and spend 80 pounds on an F1 Mercedes Petronas top? Probably not. But I know that my girlfriend would probably buy it for me if she saw it, knowing that I would be watching the F1 in it. So our question to the client is, should we do a survey? Should we do forms? Should we find out what kind of spend someone do, and just do one to women, one to men about the products? Would you buy this for your husband? How much would you spend? Would you buy this for yourself? How much would you spend? And then we're going to get a understanding over the demographic we're targeting, which could change the company altogether. Gymshark started the first 3 years selling menswear. It would not be the company today if it hadn't moved into the women's market, because women love buying stuff. They love buying clothes. They're the ones with the money. Get them spending. Men wear a t-shirt, put it back in the gym bag, probably forget to wash it, and then maybe bring it out the next time they train stinking. Okay. It's a different way of advertising. And those are the sort of things that you need to think about. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I hope that explains a few things, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.